In 2 weeks, the Ravens kick off their regular season. We have that to talk about preseason, joint practice, Brady, Edelman, this, that, on this episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. Yes, welcome back to episode 257 of the Purple Rain Podcast. OJ Brigance, Josh Bine, CJ Mosley, Bart Scott, Christian Welch, episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. It's been a while, but we're here to talk ball. We're here to talk Ravens football, here to talk joint practice, here to talk about everything NFL. But first and foremost, you can follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. Follow this guy over here on Instagram, on X at Sudden Death. Follow me on Instagram at simplyas10.prod and on X at simplyas10. And most importantly, our sponsor, Manscaped. Code PRP, 20% off your whole order, free entire shipping. Get yourself something nice. Get your brother, dad, friend, uncle, grandfather, something nice. PRP, great deal. But, Sutton, it's been a while. How are you doing, first and foremost? How are you doing?
Doing well, man. Thank you so much. I mean, just coming back from vacation, so that was why we missed the last couple of episodes. So my bad, my bad. Had to take the last vacation of the year, before football season really kicks off in September. So we're here from here on out. I'll say that, but I'm feeling good. Ravens had a joint practice today. They had a W over the weekend, beat the Falcons by 1 in preseason. That's something, right? It's something to cheer for. Other than that, there's a couple other pieces of news I want to get into today as well. Some kind of lighthearted, funny stuff, and then some hard-hitting stuff, courtesy of Tom Brady and Julian Edelman saying a lot of things over the weekend about the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, this and that. Lots of criticism to go around, lots to talk about. But again, like my guy opened the episode with, this is the Purple Rain Podcast, episode 257. Listen, if you want to subscribe to the channel, there's going to be a lot coming down the pipeline this season, especially, fantasy football. We're talking our weekly picks, our preview episodes, our Purple Rain parlays, this, that, and the third. And oh yeah, maybe some giveaways sprinkled in there as well. So make sure you stay tuned in, make sure you stay locked in, subscribe to the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. Again, my name is Sutton Def. That is simply AS10. This is what we do, man. We talk ball here. Okay. I want to start the episode with what we missed over the weekend, right? And that was the Falcons game. So the Ravens got a win, right? And, out of all these preseason games, all we're really trying to see is who's going to make the team, who's stepping up early, who's really, taking that initiative on the season. And right here, we see the highest graded not rookies, but highest graded Ravens versus the Falcons, with Josh Johnson scoring a 90.6. David Ojabo with an 89.5, Trayvon Mullen with an 88.4, Tylan Wallace 81.7, and Keith Kirkwood clocking in at 79.2. Kind of running through this list here and what I saw and what we saw as a whole from this Falcons preseason game. Josh Johnson was a lot better in this game, obviously going 11 for 11. Even still, you got to take it with a little grain of salt. It's just like, it's preseason, the guy's not going to be your solid backup, quarterback 2. Like, that's not what that performance was indicative of. I don't think that he has the upside, because we've already seen most of his career transpire, and I think we should take that with a grain of salt. Now, David Ojabo for me, he was one of the highlights of this game. And after this, I'll let you get into what you saw, Alex. But David Ojabo was a highlight. I remember that. I think it was a spin move that he had in the first quarter, getting around the guard. I mean, man, that was it was beautiful to see. And then violent at the point of attack, as always, as we know him to be. I think that David Ojabo, man, don't sleep on him. Don't sleep on him. Don't call it a hot take, but I could see David Ojabo, if we're going like over under, let's say what, 5.5 sacks, I say would be a good line for David Ojabo. I'm going the over. I'm taking the over. I think that David Ojabo is primed to have a big year. I mean, this is a make or break year, honestly, for David Ojabo. First full season coming back, healthy off season, all of that. You got to make something happen on a defensive line that's lost a Jadeveon Clowney, who, had almost 10 sacks last season. Who's going to replace that? That's a huge void that needs to be filled. So, I mean, David Ajabo did show me some good things there, and I hope he can take that into the to the regular season. But Alex, I want to go to you next. What did you see out of that Falcons game on Saturday?
Yeah, on the defensive side of the ball, Trenton Simpson, I thought he looked very, very good. He did about everything. Got to the quarterback, stopped the run, nice pass breakup,
Yeah.
covering the tight end. I mean, I thought he did, as much as he could when he was on the field. And to me, it's like, all right, wrap him up. He's good for week one. We've seen what he can do. 2 straight weeks, look good. And that was him by himself out there without Roquan Smith. So he can only get better, in my opinion. And then glad Tyler Wallace is up here because all he's done this preseason is make plays. Caught the ball when it's thrown to him. They're tough catches he's making. He's looking good. And I'm gonna have to give a little bit of a shout out here to a Bo Braid, who I thought was robbed option. I thought Dayton Waits looked good as well. He had
Ooh.
that double move, left the cornerback just out there and just with a big question mark over his head. Look good. Dre says here he thought Ojabo and Adisa looked good. Yeah, Adisa did look good before. Yeah, before that. Yeah, so I'm not gonna get too much into that. Another hamstring. I think it's his opposite leg now. He has a hamstring issue, but guys look good. Emory Jones I thought looked good. Quarterback who we didn't see him at all against the Eagles. And then I'm glad Keith Kirkwood was brought up here because I thought he's played, solid the first 2 games as well. I think had a good catch against the Eagles. Seems so long ago, but it's really not. But overall, good stuff to take away from. Not all the starters are playing, so it's kind of hard to distinguish, how we're going to look. But thankfully, these joint practices today gave us a whole ton of news and kind of this is the preseason for the starters, I think. They're guarding against ones, tackling, not the quarterbacks, but I'm really looking forward to talking about this practice today. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, me too. So why not just go ahead and get into it? I mean, Green Bay is who the Ravens are doing a joint practice with. We we went there to visit them, and interesting news coming out of that practice, to say the least. Here, so Alex, I'll leave it to you on this one. You can go ahead and take what you saw and let us know what you're thinking about that joint practice that happened today.
Yeah, so I'll tell you this. That I was reading these tweets. I'm going to pull them up and read them to you guys.
Sure.
Low-key, I thought we were getting cooked. From what I was seeing out of the Packers beat writers, what they were saying. So I'll just kind of go and talk about it. Nate Wiggins got beat on a 43-yard touchdown today. So that to me was very surprising, considering he's barely been beat all practice. And the only time it was that we heard about was to Tez Walker. The Packers' defensive line was feasting in the red zone period, to the point where one of the Packers beat writers said Lamar Jackson is running for his life out there, and it's not by design.
Right.
That right there has me worried. Now, Tyler Linderbaum is not there, but that's 1 out of 5. The other 5 guys out there, what's going on? And one of those guys, Roger Rosengarten, was having his way with Rashawn Gary, one of their edge rushers who is very, very good. But they said Rosengarten was locking him up, couldn't do much against him. Now for some bad. Jordan Love, I think he went 6 for 6 on red zone touchdowns against us. A lot of short stuff, screens, out routes, they said. And then there's the one fade to Christian Watson over Kyle Hamilton. And speaking of Kyle Hamilton, he went down today with it. They're looking at his hip. Of course, John Harbaugh says it's nothing serious, thankfully.
Right.
But now that's 2 I-word scares for Kyle Hamilton. Kind of getting a little nervous. Wrap him up, bubble wrap. Don't know what you can do. But yeah, so I'm going to go through real quick on some plays. Then we can talk about them. Now, granted, this is from Packer beat writers because there's like 3 or 4 Raven beat writers there. I'll try to find them out. But Rashawn Gary coverage sack on Lamar. Xavier McKinney passed breakup over the middle. Lamar, nice completions to Tyler and Wallace and Miller, Anthony Miller. Kalen King and Eric Wilson, good coverage deep down on incompletes. And then Roquan Smith had a interception off Jordan Love. He was trying to go after Jaden Reed in the middle, and Roquan picked it off. So that is most of what happened. Eric Stokes broke up a Lamar deep ball for Bateman. And from here, Brian Wacker from the Baltimore Sun. I'll finish it with this. Lamar has been up and down so far in practice. O-line has had a few false starts and struggles as well, impacting some of his throws. So, yeah.
Okay, so top things I take away from like everything you just said and everything that I've heard today, coming out of that Packers joint practice. Number one, Kyle Hamilton. Okay, Kyle Hamilton, who was what number? I think he was ranked number 48 in the top 100 NFL players list or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, highly touted safety, one of the best, if not the best safety in the league. Happens to play for the Baltimore Ravens, and he's been banged up these last couple of weeks, whether it's been this or that. He's been dealing with some things, and that is concerning, especially going into this week one matchup with the Chiefs. And I mean, it's just a brutal schedule just in general, So like the fact that Kyle Hamilton, his bill of health is not necessarily the cleanest right now. I think from what I read from the beat writer earlier today, he was holding his hip and then he went down to his knees. Like, that's some real pain. And of course he walks himself off, but in Harbaugh, he's blowing the smoke screens like it's nothing serious and nothing serious. But is it really nothing serious though? Like I feel like there's more than meets the eye with these Kyle Hamilton I words right now. And I definitely think it's something to be concerned about as a Ravens fan, knowing that he is legitimately one of the anchors on that defense, let alone that secondary. We know exactly what Kyle Hamilton can do. I was just watching actually some footage of Kyle Hamilton from last season. I think I was, you know what, Alex, I watched both Ravens versus Texans games from last season. I just got bored and I was like, you know what, let me see what we did in those games. Uh, both of those games, man, Kyle Hamilton was just absolutely all over the place. There was this one play in particular where I think it was there was a screen pass from CJ Stroud out to the flat, and basically you have Kyle Hamilton running through the second level and just completely blowing up one of the blockers, like knocking him completely on his ass, making contact with another guy, and then bouncing towards and making the tackle. And he gets up charged up. Kyle Hamilton, some of his plays give me goosebumps. The one against the Browns where he picks it off, where he swats it at the line of scrimmage and he picks it off and takes it in for six, walks in for six, goosebumps. 49ers Christmas Day, picks it off in the end zone, goosebumps, man. I mean, this guy, he is so important to this team, to this defense, especially with a Mike McDonald leaving. I think we're going to be more reliant on the players on the field. We're going to be more reliant on a Roquan Smith. We're going to be more reliant on a Kyle Hamilton. We're going to be more reliant on a Justin Madubuike. Guys like that, with the departure of a Mike McDonald, because it's going to take some time for Zach Orr to really mesh and come into his own in being a defensive coordinator in this league, and just the pace of it all, even as well. Not to say that he doesn't have that down pack already, but I mean, it takes repetition once the live bullets get to flying in the regular season. So I think we'll be more reliant on those key defensive players. So Kyle Hamilton's being hurt, it definitely does concern me. I'll start with that. Um, outside, yeah, go ahead. My bad.
No, keep on going. Keep on going. Like you're spitting. Keep on.
Well, yeah, outside of that, I really can't put too much stock into our offensive line getting beat and whatnot, because I think that right now it's still in that kind of like experimental phase. And if you look back to even like last season and when we had a joint practice with the Commanders, there were tweets coming out that our offensive line was getting beat then as well. And you saw what we ended up doing over the course of the season. So again, you got to take these things with a grain of salt. And then you mentioned the Jordan Love 6 for 6 red zone touchdowns. That is something that concerns me. Okay. And not even just like, I wouldn't even say like concerns me, because the Packers are so far and away from the Ravens. We don't really have to worry about them unless we make a Super Bowl in most cases, right? We play them like once every 4 years, something like that. But if I'm a Packers fan, I'm excited for this season. I really am excited for this season. Um, Jordan Love, I think, can finish this season, and might be a hot take. He could finish this season as a top five quarterback. He could, legitimately. I mean, he's got the weapons. He's got the experience now too. People don't realize that Jordan Love's going into what, year five, I want to say, something like that. Year 4 or 5, something like that. The guy's got he's got time. He's got time in this league, at least year 4, I want to say.
Yeah.
So he's more experienced than people give him credit for. And I think that he could really be good. He's got a solid offensive line. I mean, I met his left tackle, went to his football camp. That guy is freaking solid. He's huge. He locked down Micah Parsons in the divisional round last season, or no, in the wild card round last season. But yeah, man. Jordan Love throwing all those touchdown passes against our secondary in the red zone, not the prettiest. I was hoping maybe for some tip passes, something like that, right? But nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's where where champions are made. We weren't giving up those touchdowns last year, and I'm hoping we're not trying to show him everything. I didn't see anything about Derrick Henry today. Was he not? Was he not just practicing? Was he not there?
Well,
Saw very little about
Harbaugh
it.
No, Harbaugh said in the presser, he said that he had a couple of good runs today, and he talked
Okay,
about his work ethic and the generic stuff like
okay,
that. So,
okay. Yeah, I didn't see any of these beat writers really mentioning Derrick Henry. I just saw them saying they blew up Justice Hill in the backfield, which I'm like, all right, well,
yeah,
22 didn't really see it. And yeah, I agree with you. Like giving up, them going 6 for 6, I think, and they said Croft, their tight end, was having a field day against us, and that's something that haunted us last year is not covering tight ends. Travis Kelce
yeah,
cooked us that AFC Championship game. I mean, you take him away, it's a whole different game, but that's just top tight end in the league for that reason and that reason only. He shows up when it matters, and fourth down, Kelce. Third and whatever, Kelce, first down. Kyle Hamilton, perfect coverage, Kelce touchdown. Like it's just that's something I feel like it's always been an issue with us, and Kyle going down will make it even worse. Covering tight ends.
right.
So what I am happy is there was no fights, and I saw a bunch of Packer fans. After John Harbaugh was interviewed, he kind of was showing. He knows his history about the Packers. And they're like, we have a lot of respect for Harbaugh because this team was so much more respectful and practice went so much better than the ones he did last week with the Broncos.
Right.
Apparently there was a lot of, just not a lot of respect going on. And today it sounded like a lot of work got done. And I'm really, really pleased with that. This is me the closest we will get or hear of our guys playing the preseason game, the one. So this was much needed because in 2 weeks the games count. You can't have bad reps. You can't have blown coverages. You can't have stupid stuff happen or it'll cost you. So days like today are needed, and I'm happy that we had them. And like you said, we could have just went against a top 5 quarterback right now in practice, and that's only going to make this defense better. Because I wouldn't be surprised if end of the year, the Packers 100% to me. If you gave me money and said, give me the 4 final teams in the NFC, the Packers will be one of them. 1,000,000%. I think they'll make the turn around. They are a very good team. They've only gotten better. I think Josh Jacobs will be good for them as well. So last year, that was just the first year of Jordan Love starting. Year 2, we saw what Lamar did in year 2.
Yeah.
Different scenarios, but the good thing we'll have to deal with them because they are a good team.
Yeah, very good team. There are some up and coming teams in the NFC. The Falcons are another one that a lot of people are talking about right now as well. Which I believe in them, but only to go but so far. I think that they're maybe like a wild card appearance, something like that this year. But no, man, the Rams. I know you really like the Rams. You're high on them. Obviously, the Lions are really good still. Man,
Bears.
yeah, NFC's getting
Caleb
stronger.
Williams has shown me something. That NFC North, man, I feel for the Vikings because if the Bears and Caleb Williams is what he's shown me, the Lions are a good team. The Packers are a good team. Throw the Bears right there too. Then you got the Vikings with Sam Darnold this year. So that's going to be, the North, AFC and NFC North. That's going to be 2 tough divisions this year, which it'll be fun football to watch in the end.
Absolutely. 50 people watching live right now. Thank you so much for joining this episode 257 of the Purple Rain podcast. Season right around the corner, y'all. So make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, stay locked in to the Rain Gang. Join the Rain Gang family. We would appreciate you if you join the Rain Gang family. Now, listen, before we get off the topic of the Packers joint practice today, there was some news, right? So Lamar Jackson decided to ride a bike, right? Hopped on a bike. And these were the results.
That laugh after that's the laugh of that could have been really bad.
Exactly. See, my initial reaction to this, I was just like, why and how? Like, how? As somebody as athletic Lamar Jackson, like, what are the odds? I know he grew up riding bikes. We all did, right? Like, how do you get tripped up? Did like one of the kids like grab his hand a little too hard when he was going by, or what happened there?
Dabbing him up. I don't.
He just looks like he just lost his footing.
Yeah,
He just lost the footing. I guess he was trying to reach a little bit too hard, and
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, the left foot comes off, and kid in the Aaron Jones jersey almost gets ran over by a two-time MVP. Get out the way.
Yeah,
You
man.
have I I saw this and I was like, wow. That was, I mean, the whole bike thing, riding it, that's a cool concept.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just yeah. Life flashed before the eyes right there. That was
Oh, definitely. I was
funny
like, can
moment of the
you
day.
imagine? Wow.
Yeah.
No way. It's just no way. But okay, all right. We won't spend too much time on that. That was probably the funniest, not funny thing that happened today.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, and we've seen Lamar. Remember the jet ski incident? Remember that?
Oh my gosh.
Oh
He
my
was flying on the
goodness, man.
beach. He was
Yeah.
flying. He jumps over the jet ski.
Yeah, it's insane, insane. Bubble wrap again, like you said, put them in bubble wrap. Do not take them out of the bubble wrap until September 5th at 8:10 p.m. and let's just go from there, right? But funny stuff, funny stuff. Okay, let's get into the hard hitting stuff, shall we?
Yeah, I
Let's talk
mean,
about
why not?
yeah, let's talk about some of this criticism, right? Some of this criticism that's been coming out from a couple of different people, a couple of different ex-Patriots, ex-champions, ex-Super Bowl MVPs, right? Lots of words. So this first one, you guys have probably all heard it by now, but this one's coming from Julian Edelman, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ex-Super
Mm-hmm.
Bowl MVP. Got a lot of respect for Julian Edelman, man. All the things he did in his career. But let's go ahead and listen in to what he had to say about Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson.
Has ever done that, but the Chiefs will try to do that this year. Do you expect them to be back in the Super Bowl and win another one?
I've learned my lesson. I'm never betting against the Chiefs again. Okay, I will never bet against them. I lost a lot of money, but it's not up to the Chiefs. We all know what the Chiefs are. They got Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Spagnuolo, Chris Jones, and everyone. It's up to everyone else. We need to see a Joe Burrow come out and do something, stay healthy, start fast. You need to see Lamar Jackson, who's been on a milk carton in the playoffs, so he's missing. And then, you got to see the other guys. There's going to be a dark horseman, but
right now, your money is on the Chiefs.
I'm going with the Chiefs.
No team has ever done that, but the Chiefs.
Milk carton.
Okay.
Milk carton.
What are your thoughts when you hear that?
That was not needed, number one. The milk carton wasn't. That was definitely not needed. I've seen this topic debated. Yeah. Could he be better in the playoffs? 100%. Guy had 4 touchdowns against the Texans. Did that game just not happen? Like, I'm not upset at him. He could have said who maybe doesn't perform like he usually does in the regular season in the playoffs. No problem with it. The milk carton was a little over the top. But yeah, I mean, until, Lamar beats Mahomes in the playoffs, this is going to happen. I've kind of prepared for this. Burrow beat him in Arrowhead. And Burrow has that. Until Lamar does beat Mahomes in the playoff, this will be happening. Let's hope this is the final year of it. That's really all I got to say. What do you have on Julian Edelman?
So Dre says here, and I kind of agree with Dre. He says, I didn't like the words he used with Lamar, but I was not mad with where he was going.
Yep.
I can agree with that. And here's what I'll say. You repeated milk carton, milk carton, milk carton. And it got me to thinking just now, like, yeah, you're absolutely right. That's a completely asinine thing to say, that Lamar Jackson has been on a milk carton. To say that he's missing nowhere to be found is crazy. Like you said, the Texans game, does that not exist? 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. I mean, the Titans game from a couple of years ago in the playoffs, right? Where he houses a 50-yarder when it was clear and obvious that we were imminent to maybe lose that game again against the Titans. Takes a 50-yarder to the house to set the tone and turn the tide in that game, right? 400 total yards of offense against the Titans a couple of years ago, right? I mean, the huge play, the huge connection to Zay Flowers spinning out of a sack in the AFC Championship game just a couple of months ago, right? Getting his team all the way down the field to potentially tie the football game again. How can you say he's been completely missing? How can you say that? Milk carton is absolutely crazy to say. I mean, I know the stats aren't there. You can bring up the 9 touchdowns to 9 turnovers. I get it. But really what's happening here, I think people are mad that Lamar Jackson is not succeeding at hero ball in the playoffs. when that's not what's supposed to happen. That's not what wins playoff games. Hero ball does not win playoff games. Football is a team sport, right? In the regular season, you can get away with more hero ball. But in the playoffs, everything is condensed, right? Everything is a lot tougher. Everything's a lot tighter, you know? The windows are tighter, the hits are harder, the weather's a lot colder. It's a lot tougher of a game. It takes a whole entire team collectively. And we've seen time and time again how this Ravens team has fell apart, including Lamar Jackson. I'm not completely absolving Lamar Jackson of his shortcomings in the playoffs. I'm not. But in terms of the entire team, which is what it takes, it's a team sport, and that's highlighted even more in the playoffs. This Ravens team does not show up as a whole. And Lamar Jackson has definitely had his moments, his hero ball moments in the playoffs. So it's just for Julian Edelman again to make this take. It seems very forced, and I don't know why he decided that it was a good idea to say that, Lamar Jackson was on a milk carton, and then he also brought up Joe Burrow as well, saying that he has to quote unquote do something. But what do you think?
Yeah, you know what? You're right, 100% right. Be the change you wish you see says, I don't not jab isn't that bad. We can't be sensitive. No, like I think a lot of Ravens fans are sensitive whenever Lamar is criticized, and guess what? It's gonna happen no matter what any quarterback, I think, unless you're like the undisputed GOAT. But like I said, that it wasn't needed, and here's why I say that. I'm just gonna back this up. Lamar against the Chiefs, 20 for 37, 272 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Obviously had the fumble. A different quarterback against the Chiefs, 26 to 39, 186 yards, one touchdown, no interceptions. Can you guess who I'm talking about?
Oh wait, you kind of cut out for me for a few seconds there.
So Lamar was 20 for 37, 272 yards, a pick and a touchdown. Okay.
Yeah.
Another quarterback unnamed against the Chiefs as well, 26 for 39, 186 yards, and one touchdown. And a fumble.
Josh Allen?
He had 2 rushing touchdowns, though. Yeah, and he had 2 rushing touchdowns. Yes.
Yeah.
So, because he had the rushing touchdowns, which I don't know how long they were, I don't know if they were short, like, why don't I hear about him? Because they've gotten to the same exact place, and that's where my problem comes in. Because at this point, like in the AFC, it's Mahomes and whoever plays in the AFC Championship. So that's how it's gonna be. Edelman,
yeah,
I guess like he was making a good point. He's making a great point, but just wrong verbiage.
Yeah, wrong verbiage, absolutely. I mean, but everybody kind of uses that same sort of verbiage in a roundabout way. They're all saying that like Lamar Jackson doesn't show up in the playoffs when that's just absolutely not true. I mean, he's not. He's not hero ball Lamar in the playoffs. He is sometimes. It flashes. But again, in the playoffs, it requires the team to come together. The game of football is much harder in the playoffs. You can ask any player. You can ask any player in the NFL, is the game harder in the regular season or in the playoffs? Every one of them will tell you. In the playoffs, it takes a team, an entire team effort. And I think that, if anybody would understand that, right, it would be a Julian Edelman coming from the Patriots and Tom Brady in that dynasty. Like you knew it. What did they preach in that locker room? Do your job, do your job, do your job. Do you see every 54 of the Ravens doing their job in these playoff games? No, but we focus on Lamar Jackson because he's the quarterback. That's fair. I get it. But I mean, and I think I saw somebody ask this question. I want to ask you this question, Alex. I thought this was very interesting. Do you think that Lamar Jackson should receive more grace or more criticism since he has 2 MVPs?
It's going to be more criticism, I think, and until he gets that first title. And I think he'd tell you the same thing, too, because he's like, the personal accolades are cool, but he wants that Super Bowl. So I'll go with criticism. I think just from what I've heard him say. And, it's the individual stuff is cool, but look at a Dan Marino. Guys like him, the great quarterbacks who haven't won a Super Bowl. They trade, I think, everything they have to have that Super Bowl. So, yeah, I'll go with the more criticism. But I'll tell you this, though. It feels like it's just Dak and Lamar when the playoff stuff comes up. Do you feel that too?
Yeah, I can definitely feel that. I mean, Josh Allen, he flies completely under the radar.
Yeah, he gets passes.
I mean, yeah, passes for everything. Burrow a little bit less, but Allen the most. And, you know, I respect
Burrow
Allen.
beat
I think that,
Mahomes.
yeah,
I can't get
he
mad
did.
at that. I can't get
He
mad.
did. But see, the reason why I have to say that I think you have to give him more grace for the two MVPs is because, just like you said, to your point, they're only harping on Dak and Lamar. I mean, there's a lot of other quarterbacks who, you know, have either gotten close to winning MVPs or gotten all pros and Pro Bowls and things like that. And people would say that Josh Allen or Joe Burrow is better than Lamar Jackson. They do say that, but
Yeah.
they criticize Lamar Jackson the most. At least that's what it seems like to
That's
me.
true.
And that may just be me as a Ravens fan, but I think a lot of different people would agree with me. I mean, Lamar Jackson definitely takes the most criticism in the media. And another thing, the reason why I say you have to give him more grace is because you got guys like Peyton Manning out here who are coming out with top 5 quarterback lists, and they're putting Justin Herbert at number 3. You know, Eh, like what? Here, okay, let me say this, Allison. Let me know if I'm crazy for saying this. I don't think that anybody in the national sports media should be allowed to put out a top 5, top 10, top whatever quarterback list without also releasing their criteria, right?
Correct.
For this list and what
Mhm.
they're grading it based off of.
Yep.
Because if you're saying that Justin Herbert is a top 3 quarterback in this league, to me, that means on your criteria sheet, that means that arm talent has to be number 1.
Yep.
Number 1. You know, not winning, not mobility, not that, the ability to extend plays, nothing like that. Not being able to be a cerebral quarterback, arm talent.
Yep.
Because if we're really talking about what Justin Herbert is, it's arm talent. He does not have the win percentage to really to hold up in court at all, at all. So I mean, am I crazy to say that though, Alex? I mean, this
No.
whole top 5, top 10 listing.
If we're talking about arm talent, then I guess Kyle Bowler was the right pick because he threw 70 yards on one knee. You know, I feel
Yeah,
like they see that and just go, start drooling over it. Like Justin Herbert doesn't have a playoff win yet. I've seen Trevor Lawrence catch a lot of slack this offseason. Speaking of quarterbacks with the whole criticism,
yeah,
I've seen him catch a lot of it. But I'm like, he won a playoff game. You know, he had Urban Meyer as his coach, and was able to turn it around when he got Doug Peterson. I'm like, Herbert, he's had talent. Now he has Jim Harbaugh, but I'm like, I don't think I can't put him in my top 3. Not even in the top 5, honestly.
yeah.
Like he's very talented, but quarterback to win you games, you put. I mean, I saw this a debate going on between the Chiefs and Charger fans. It was Mahomes in the Charger uniform and Herbert in the Chiefs uniform. A Chiefs fan was like, Herbert wouldn't get us 3 wins with the receiving core they had last year. I'm like, all right, 3 probably would, but I'm like, they'd probably be a wild card at best if he
At
was our
best,
quarterback.
yeah.
Throwing a Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, Kelsey, yeah, but I really haven't seen Herbert utilize his tight ends as much as he should. So, yeah, I don't think I would love to see the criteria because him putting him top 3, that's a little high, in my opinion.
Yeah. Now let's shift gears here and get the opinion of another New England Patriot. I want to bring up Tom Brady's take as well. Now, Tom Brady said a couple of things. He said something that pertained specifically to Lamar Jackson. Then he said something that pertained to the Ravens as a whole. I wanted to bring up Tom Brady talking about the biggest threats to the Chiefs and Mahomes dynasty here. This is another thing that I kind of found interesting as well.
Okay.
And I'm sure you guys have heard this clip.
I
But
haven't actually.
Oh,
This
you
is new to
haven't?
me. No,
Oh,
this is new to me.
nice. Perfect then. Perfect. All right, so here we go. Let me play this for you, Alex and Rain Gang. Tom Brady talking about the biggest threat to the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes. Here we go.
Threat to the Kansas City Chiefs and the AFC is home.
I would say all those teams are going to be tough. I think it's still the Bills or the Bengals just because I think the quarterback play.
The Bills and the Bengals more than the Ravens?
They're right up there.
Okay.
But I would say, and they're exceptional. The Ravens have to, I think, be more successful in the postseason for me to feel like, okay, they're right there. The Bengals have made it to the Super Bowl. Okay. The Bills have been in championship games.
Right. got a 3-1 record against Patrick Mahomes. The number one threat.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah, what do you think about that? What's your knee-jerk reaction to that since that was your first time hearing it?
I was caught in the Bills and Bengals. Like, yeah, like they'll be up there, but I'm like I say, the Ravens, and I'm not. Who am I to tell Tom Brady that is, that what he's talking about football is wrong?
Right.
But did we just not watch a divisional game last year? Did we not watch what we did to them in the second half? It was an utter beatdown. We had C.J. Stroud scared. Like, they could not produce. I don't think C.J. Stroud took one snap at the red zone last year against us in the playoffs. I believe I saw that.
And see that. I just watched those games too. But no, they really weren't doing much. I mean, they had 10 points for a long time. Yeah.
When the Ravens stopped dicking around in the first half and played like an actual team in the second half, that drive out the gate in halftime was sensational. Likely down the field. Bait, nice catch.
Lamar and that offense was possessed. They came out possessed in that second half. It was crazy.
Yeah. So
yeah, go ahead.
I mean, just to finish it off, like, who am I to tell Tom Brady's wrong? But I guess that's kind of we're looking at as chokers. We're looked at as the Cowboys of the AFC. We get these seeds and we choke. And until we prove them wrong, stuff like this will keep happening.
I don't know about the Cowboys of the AFC. I mean, that's a little bit much for me. The Cowboys of the AFC, man. If I had to give our NFC comp, I'd probably say maybe the Rams. I would say. I mean, we haven't had success as recently as them, but I mean, a championship in the last decade or so, a little bit over a decade. I mean, I don't know, man. I can't say the Cowboys because the Cowboys have not won anything in 30 years. Packers,
yes, they made the championship game. They were the 1 seed, and they haven't made the Super Bowl since they last beat the Steelers.
I think somewhere between the Packers and the 49ers, I would say, because the 49ers, they haven't won a Super Bowl since when?
The Niners?
Yeah.
90s, I want to say.
Yeah,
I've been alive for Niners.
Yeah.
But they make it.
They make it.
They're like,
sure.
They lost against us, lost against the Chiefs twice. They'll make the NFC Championship, lost to the Rams.
Yeah.
Lost to the Eagles.
Can't get it done.
No.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've won 2 Super Bowls since they've last won 1. So, I don't know. I'd say somewhere between the Packers and the 49ers. This is an interesting question, though. Interesting question. Chike says that was the 1994 season. That's 30 years this year. Yeah, 30 years. 30 years.
Houston was missing half the line of their weapons. We're missing Mark Andrews. I mean, you put him. That's a big weapon for us that we're missing.
Yeah.
Now he says the Bills. They lost Stephon Diggs. Keon Coleman hasn't looked the best in preseason. Their receivers they haven't been performing as well as I think they have.
That's where my wide receiver 1. I mean, if it's not Keon Coleman, it's like Khalil Shakir. Like what? The Bills, they're kind of cooked right now. Offensively, it's going to be heavily reliant on Josh Allen, and that's the only reason why I would probably disagree with this take from Tom Brady. I agree for a lot of reasons, but the only reason I would push back would be to like we just mentioned, the Bills really do not have the squad this year. They don't have the talent on offense, and we'll see, what they've got cooking up in the lab or whatever. But I think it's just going to be Josh Allen. Now, what I do agree with Tom Brady here is him saying that he believes in the Ravens, and he left Lamar's name completely out of it. He said, but the Ravens, so like the team, the Ravens, they've got to show me in the playoffs they can show up like as a unit. Like that's what I would rather hear than saying like, oh, Lamar's got to, be better. No, Lamar's really good. Of course, again, 9 touchdowns, 9 turnovers. That's not good. I understand that. But to say that he has like no moments, and to say that he hasn't had moments where his team has let him down, I mean, you can point to every single playoff loss, and you can point to specific key moments where the team has let him down, whether it was against the Bills in 2021 with the offensive line breaking down, getting Lamar hurt, whether it was the 7 drop passes against the Titans in the divisional round when we had the 1 seed back in 2019, whether it was last year, Zay Flowers fumbling on the goal line to potentially tie up that ball game. Come on. Like, I like the fact that Tom Brady left Lamar out of it and addressed the team. The Ravens need to be better in the playoffs.
I want to take back my Cowboy comment. I meant that as if I thought about it, as from a media standpoint, the type of way we get talked about. That's what I meant. Because I thought about it. Yeah, they haven't made the NFC Championship in so long.
Nope.
But I was looking at some stats. I'm glad Bob's in here. You know who the last 3 wins the quarterbacks were that Josh Allen played in the playoffs? Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson, Mac Jones.
Yo, I did not even see it like that. Whoa, say that again. Say that again.
Beat the Steelers this year. Mason Rudolph. Last year, beat the Dolphins. Skylar Thompson. 2021, beat the Patriots. Mac Jones.
Man,
then Lamar got hurt in 2020. They beat him and Tyler Huntley.
Yes,
and then he beat Phillip Rivers. He beat an aging Phillip Rivers in 2020.
And Josh Allen, if I remember correctly, if memory serves me correctly, Josh Allen did not play that well in that divisional game against us. Now, it was probably because of the wind. Justin Tucker, that's why he couldn't kick. But yeah, man, that's interesting that you bring that up. The last 3 quarter, he can only face who's in front of him, right? But
correct.
The last 3 quarterbacks that he had to kind of go head to head with, they were not contenders. Certainly not contenders. So, wow, that's interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah. Then again, we know we lost to Tannehill. Then we beat him next year. Beat a rookie CJ Stroud. So I'll play devil's advocate. Lost to the same Josh Allen. Lost to Burrow. Boss says here the NFL rescheduled the playoff game against the Steelers because Josh Allen would have lost in the snow. And that was a whole big thing too. They had people shoveling it out. Then they moved it the next day, and then people were taking pictures like they could have played. Crazy.
Yeah. That big
Bills Mafia.
I forgot that big storm. Bills Mafia. Be the change you wish to see says we need more firepower at wideout, and EDC needs to be held accountable for rebuilding a Pro Bowl O-line like the one Ozzie handed him. Yeah, I do agree with half of this statement here. I used to be of the school of thought that the Ravens just needed more and more and more and more firepower at wideout. I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think Lamar Jackson has proven that he can elevate receivers. I really do think that, and I think that really just comes from his ability to extend plays, play that kind of backyard football, give guys more than just like their route as their chance of receiving the football on a play. You know what I mean? Like if their route breaks down, if the play breaks down, you can scramble out, you can still catch a pass from Lamar Jackson, and all of a sudden you've got all these DBs playing out of phase because the play's been going on for so long, and you get the ball and you can turn upfield, you can get some yak. That's the benefits of playing with Lamar Jackson. I think that he elevates his receivers in that way. So I don't really think that we need a whole lot of firepower, or at least I'll say this: I don't think we need to spend a whole lot of capital on more firepower at wide receiver. Especially not in like free agency or trades or anything like that, where we're gonna have to shell out a big contract, knowing that Lamar Jackson is gonna take up 25% of the cap in about a season's time. So I agree. I agree with the other part of your statement, though. I do think that there should have been more intentionality with building this offensive line back up, because right now there's questions. Again, we talked about it earlier, the joint practices where they were kind of getting blown up, which I said you should take with a grain of salt. But even still, there's still a lot of question marks. We don't exactly know what Rosengarten is going to look like against starting competition for 4 quarters. We don't exactly know what Andrew Voorhees is going to look like against starting competition for 4 quarters straight. So, there are questions, but hopefully EDC has the answers with these draft picks.
Yeah, I think Zay is a hit. I have big expectations for him. I think he'll have a really good year. Bate, need him to stay healthy. Give me 600-700 yards as a 2. I'll be very happy with that. Chain mover. Use him how we used Odell last year. I feel like for the 3rd or 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th straight year, we'll be talked about as a receiver team in round 1, because I still think we're missing somebody there. That your complement, your physical guy, your AJ Brown, your Devonta Smith. And this is a great point about bringing it up. Jahan Dotson got traded today from the Commanders to the Eagles.
Yes.
Former
Yes.
second round pick. And I think this is a fantastic trade for the Eagles. That's why, how he gets so much love is because you have AJ Brown and Devonta Smith. Now you have a number 3 in Jahan Dotson who doesn't have the best of camps, but he's made some plays in the NFL. He will be going against number 3 corners. While other guys are getting doubled, he'll be open. He'll be able to, create separation. He'll make big plays for the Eagles. And this is why the Eagles are always so good and, why they've been a really consistent team in the NFL. Howie's made some great trades, and this is one of them. For us, though, I don't think we'll make a trade for a receiver at all. I think we'll, go with what we have. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't want somebody else. And then for the line, I would have loved to just pay Zeitler what he wanted. Having Zeitler at right guard right now makes our life so much easier. There's very little question marks on this line. It's just the left guard at this point.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's where I'm at. I just hope this line, gets its shit together because, bad line, Lamar can only run so much. I don't care if he got skinnier. He cannot be running for his life every play. And Derrick Henry, I know he played one thing. He was behind a really bad line. You tweeted about it, behind one of the worst lines, and he still put up numbers. But imagine him behind a good line. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. You mentioned it. I tweeted it earlier. Derrick Henry had 80 more carries last season than Gus Edwards and still had a higher average yards per carry. It wasn't by much, by like 0.1 or 0.2 or something like that. But to have 80 more touches and still have the same production when it comes to yards per carry, roughly, actually a little bit higher, playing behind the absolute worst dog shit offensive line in the league with the Tennessee Titans. Seriously, I mean, that speaks to just all the potential that you see with the Derrick Henry on this Ravens team, knowing that he's not going to have the same workload, right? We're not going to be running Derrick Henry into the ground like the Titans had to stay afloat. We don't have to do that. We have a 2-time MVP who can take that workload off. We have a Justice Hill who's seasoned in this offense. And honestly, Justice Hill, he looks better. He ages like fine wine, to be honest with you. Justice Hill does to me. I mean, he becomes more and more valuable, and that's why he is still on this team, and not playing in preseason games. So it's just with that being said, I think that this offense is going to be more run and kind of pound the ball down your throat focus this season, and kind of leaning on teams like I always mentioned during the regular season. That's, I think, what's going to be the approach, and Derrick Henry is going to be a big part of that. And there's going to be other supporting cast members as well. Isaiah Likely, another reason why I don't necessarily think that we need to go out and spend high capital on another wide receiver, because we have kind of like a wide receiver tight end combo hybrid, if you will, in Isaiah Likely. Not to mention Zay Flowers, I think going into his second year will be even more dangerous than he was last year, more mature, more importantly too. We all know what happened in that AFC Championship game, and then Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman is just another guy. We're just waiting for him to cash in on his talents. We're waiting. We're just waiting for that connection to happen. We've seen it happen earlier in his career. Lamar and him never really quite hit their stride together, but hopefully this year, with Rashad Bateman being relatively healthy, we can see that, because he definitely has the tools to do it, and every Ravens fan knows it. Every Ravens fan knows it, even his haters. So, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the Raven talk right there. A lot of Raven talk. Some NFL talk. Any other news happened in the NFL? I'm pretty sure. I know the Dotson trade. That was kind of the big thing.
AJ Terrell signed a big contract today.
Yes, AJ Terrell. Matt Judon is a Falcon. Justin Simmons is a Falcon. There's that. Falcons, loading up on defense. Hopefully we can see how they do. Hopefully Kirk is healthy. That'll be big. Jaden Daniels, QB1 for the Commanders. There's that. Kind of given. Bo Nix, QB1.
Bo Nix.
He's proven me wrong. I will eat my words. I will eat my words. He has looked very good this preseason. I will eat my words. I do have a hot take, though. All right? Okay. I have a very hot take. By the end of this year, starting quarterback for a certain team in Seattle will be Sam Howell. I'm just going to say it now. Geno has been banged up. Hasn't been out there preseason. I don't think he was supposed to, but Sam Howell has looked good. And I think Mike McDonald has him on a short leash. He saw what he did last year when he put him under pressure, 3 points. And Sam Howell has been slinging that damn ball. So just my hot take. Might not happen, but I like the way Howell's look.
Yeah, I think Mike McDonald, he's gonna have he's gonna have Gino on a short leash. I think that's a good point because Mike McDonald's not a loser. Okay, he didn't do a whole lot of losing over here in Baltimore, and I don't think he plans on doing a whole lot of losing in Seattle. So if a banged up Gino, I mean, a healthy Gino is one thing. You can kind of get by, you can skate by with a healthy Gino. You can win some games, manage some games real well with a healthy Gino. But with a banged up Gino, I
Yeah.
I don't quite know if he will last in that system because again that's not that's not Mike McDonald's guy, right? He's inheriting a Geno Smith led offense, and I think that he'll be quick to pull the trigger if
Yep.
Geno's not performing, throw Sam in there, see what he can do. If he's not performing, all right, we're hitting the draft in the offseason. They're gonna kind of retool, but
Shador.
yeah, exactly. They're gonna go. Man, can you imagine? Jeez, man, we haven't even. Wow, college football starts
College
this
football
week.
this weekend.
Yes,
Oh, dude.
yes,
I am so excited. I haven't been this excited for college football in my whole life, I think. Ever.
I
I am
know, I
so
know.
excited for college football.
I get more and more into it every season. I think that's the coolest thing. I think both of us are.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the coolest thing. I remember when we started the show, we were like, college, whatever. But I think that, the NCAA, they've done a good job with kind of maybe it's the NIL thing and the players are a little bit more kind of flashy in your face now and all that. You kind of see more, you hear about more guys. But no, I think they've done a good job marketing their players, marketing their talent. And now I'm excited. I'm excited to see what they're talking about this year. So it's gonna be a good college football season. It's gonna be a good NFL season. I absolutely cannot wait. Um,
Mm,
okay, let me
yes.
think about some
Big
other
noons. I'm
news.
sorry. I've goosebumps thinking about the big noon games, the SEC
Yeah.
games, the
Oh
Colorado
yeah.
games at night.
Yeah.
The West Coast teams in the 9, 10 o'clock games. I'm sorry. Goosebumps, man.
No, yeah.
Goosebumps.
I agree. I agree. Dre says it here. Last year was the most invested I was in
Yeah.
college football. Yeah, same here. Same here,
I
bro.
think
Same here.
the Colorado State game was one of the most anticipated college football games I can remember. Like that
Yeah.
was up there, man. That was fun to watch. Fun to watch.
Yeah. I can imagine like being a student at that game. That would probably be absolutely wild. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely
See,
wild.
being in the student section for the Maryland Michigan game, that was fun because Maryland was hanging in, but you knew Michigan was gonna win. But being one of those games where your team is blow for blow,
Yeah,
unreal.
that's different. It's different. Mod Boz in the chat says, like the video. Yes, sir,
Indeed.
like the video. Almost 70 people watching live right now. Thank you guys so much
Thank you.
for coming out to this episode 257 of the Purple Rain podcast. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. Lots more Ravens and NFL content coming your way. Now, outside of Ravens and NFL, to kind of wrap the show up here, I wanted to talk about the UFC event that just transpired last Saturday. I believe it was UFC 306 or 7, something like that. Um, Dricus Duplessis defeated our guy Israel Adesanya by submission, rear naked choke in round 4. I actually did not get to watch the fight live. I watched it a couple of days after in its entirety, and it was a good fight. It was a good fight. I'm not sure. Did you watch the whole thing, Alex, or no?
I did.
You did.
I did.
What
I
did you
watched the
take
whole
from
fight.
that fight?
Once again, casual. Personally, I thought DDP won the first round. I thought Izzy took 2 and 3. I thought DDP looked gassed in round 3, and I told Boz like he can. I'm like, he's ending this next round. Izzy, it's never happened. Told me points. Tell him to get up. Wants to fight. Goes on the ground, taps out, and I just turned my TV off. I just had to take it. Like I thought he had him, but DDP, man, he is talented as hell. He is a hell of a fighter.
Yeah, and the thing about Dricus is that like even when he looks tired, he's not tired. Like
Yes.
it's so
Told you.
crazy. It's like his body, and it's crazy because just in the past year he got some sort of surgery done on like his sinuses or something like that. There was some sort of blockage or something where he couldn't even breathe that well. So up until like literally like last year, the dude wasn't breathing that well. So now that he can breathe more freely, I feel like his body thinks that, or his mind tells his body, or vice versa, that they're more tired than they are, but they know that they can keep pushing. And it's just like, man, it's crazy to see. Now his fight style is what's really intriguing to me because in the middleweight division, you have him and you have Sean Strickland, who are kind of like at the top. And both of those are really like pressure fighters, but they're two totally different types of pressure fighters. See, Sean Strickland, he's a type where he's going to just literally like march you down. It would be almost like if you're playing like the UFC video game, you were playing against like just like a bot computer, right? Who just like was pressing you, coming forward all the time. Literally, you're trying to circle out, they're shadowing your movements. That's Sean Strickland, right? And he'll just keep walking you down till you get tired, put hands on you, not necessarily try to knock you out, but just put hands on you, put hands on you. Dreykus is more so like, okay, he's gonna like plod and dance around a little bit, but then he's gonna like pressure you with like a barrage of like 3, 4 strikes at one time. And the strikes look awkward. The strikes look awkward, but like his fists are made of like lunch boxes or something because he like ends up clubbing guys over the head and they get hurt. Same thing happened to Izzy on Saturday night. So big shout out to Dreykus. I think that, in this division, I just made a video about it earlier. I think it's very weird right now. I don't know who's really gonna challenge him. It'll be interesting to see who wins the Robert Whitaker versus Hamzat Shemaya fight because I think that that's gonna get the whoever wins that is gonna be able to fight for the title against Dreykus, and that should be a good fight either way. But man, Dreykus is damn good. Let me see. Kill Cam says here,
Yeah.
as someone who trains, Dreykus has a great chin. Never assume he is tired, and he has great was it shoot box or shadow boxing or shoot boxing? Not really sure what you were saying there, Cam. I don't train myself, so if that was something specific, I'm sorry. But let me see. Yeah, he does have a great chin though. I can definitely say that.
Yeah, that was good. Good fight. Not who I wanted to win, unfortunately. I didn't watch a Tai Tuivasa fight where apparently they gave him a 30-27 and they were going crazy saying that that was a bad scoring. Did you watch it? I didn't.
No, I actually
saw
did
uproar
not
of it.
catch the tie. I did not catch the tie to
Okay.
Avasa fight. I have to go back and watch that one. Yeah, I gotta check that
Yeah, I
out.
just saw people were just in an uproar over it, saying, fire this judge. He shouldn't be able
Wait,
to
they
judge
say he got
again.
robbed?
No, I think he was given a 30-27. Ty was. He said, that
Okay,
was not.
okay.
Yeah. I have to.
Gotcha.
I didn't watch them when I was mainly just watching for the main event. But
Yeah.
what is it? On October 5th, I think it's at 307 or 308. That looks a good card. Alex Pereira fighting again. He fights every 2
Yeah.
months.
So active, man. I mean, he literally is carrying the UFC on his back, like single-handedly right now. Because Lord knows when John Jones is gonna fight again. He's dancing around fighting Stipe Miocic, Tom Aspinall, who knows? But Alex Pereira, man, you gotta love him, man. And he also said that he wants to go back down to 185 pounds and fight Dreykus for that title again. And Dreykus is like, no, I want to go up to 205 and fight for your title. So like everybody's trying to be double champ. It's pretty funny. But no, Alex Pereira. And he's fighting who's he fighting again? Khalil Roundtree. He's fighting Khalil Roundtree.
Yes.
That man. They're
Early
kind of
prediction.
feeding Khalil Roundtree to Alex Pereira, to be honest with you. I got Alex Pereira knocking him out. Roundtree is really good. Roundtree is really good, but he struggles with guys that he really shouldn't struggle with. And if you hang in there long enough with Alex Pereira, he's going to chin you, and you're going to go. We've seen the toughest of guys get dropped from that left hook, so I think he takes him out pretty easily. But yeah, man, yeah. Let's see.
But the UFC
Boz
307,
says
that is.
September 17th card, the Mexican Independence Day. I think that one is at the Sphere in Las Vegas. I think that one is Merab Dvalishvili versus Sean O'Malley. That'll be fun. Yeah, that'll be fun to see Sean O'Malley defend his title again against somebody who is, I mean, I don't want to say a similar fight style to Aljamain Sterling because he's not, but they're both like wrestlers. They both want to take the fight to the ground, and we've seen Sean O'Malley kind of deal with that, but we haven't really seen him deal with it, if that makes sense, because we haven't really seen anybody successfully take him down, hold him down, get him a little bit tired. Okay, he gets back up, kind of like what Izzy went through in the Dreykus fight. Izzy got taken down in the second round, but he ended up surviving, right? But then in the fourth round, he got taken down again, and he couldn't deal with it at that point. He got a little bit more tired. So we'll see if Merab can push Sean to his limits, because so far as a champion, Sean has not been pushed to his limits, and that's why if you look at the betting line for that fight, might not be a bad idea to put some money on Merab. Just saying. I don't know what the line is looking like right now, but I might throw a little bit of money on Marab on that one. But
Well,
yeah.
final thing before we get out, October is insane. You have the October 5th card, UFC 307, and 3 weeks later, October 26th, UFC 308, where it's Ilya Taporia against Max Holloway. October is
Stacked.
I think if that's the Whitaker and Chimaev Komain Cyril Gane fighting. Wow.
Oh wait, who's Cyril Gane fighting?
Alexander Volkov.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that should be fun.
He's been around a while, hasn't he?
Yeah, Volkov's been around for a minute.
Okay.
Yep.
I remember when I barely would watch he was fighting. I think he was on one of the undercards where Conor was fighting her on the main card. While ago.
I think his most notable, I don't even want to say win. I mean, his most notable moment, I think, was him getting knocked out by Derek Lewis, to be honest with you.
That was the one.
That was the one?
Yeah. My balls was hot. Yeah, that was the one.
Oh, that was that fight. I forgot. Yeah. But okay, I think we're going to go ahead and leave it there for this episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. An hour in, episode 257. We want to thank each and every one of you guys for coming through to the live stream. Listen, if you're not watching this episode of the show live, you happen to be a part of the hashtag replay gang. Thank you so much for coming through. Thank you for making it all the way to the video. We appreciate you. If you're just getting in here and you didn't hear all of our takes about everything about Tom Brady and Julian Edelman criticizing Lamar Jackson, the Packers joint practice, make sure you rewind, right? Rewind for us and check out all those cool takes we had about that. Now listen, like the video, subscribe to the channel because there's a lot more coming your way. Again, the season's right around the corner, which you guys know how the live stream gets during the season. The segments go crazy. I can't wait for the Purple Rain parlays myself. It's going to be a whole lot of fun this season. I can't wait. Make sure you subscribe and follow us on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast. You can follow me on X or Instagram at Sutton Def if you like. And then on X, you can follow this guy at Simply AS10. And on Instagram, you can follow him at simplyas10.prod. And pretty much anywhere you can just find him at Simply AS10. And like he led the episode with our sponsor, Manscaped, you can get 20% off your Manscaped order just by going on the Manscaped website, putting anything that you want in your cart. You can stack it high to the ceiling. Put in that code PRP, you get 20% off plus the free international shipping, and that is the kicker. Okay? So make sure you go ahead and get that done for us. Season's right around the corner. Get it for your brother, your uncle, your father, your cousin, your friend, whoever, for yourself. Manscaped. With that being said, I'm going to let my guy Alex take us out.
Yeah, words right out of my mouth. 2 weeks away. Thank you all for coming through to this episode of the Purple Rain Podcast. Very close to that preview episode of a regular season game. Like 3 episodes away. Yeah. So looking forward to that. As always, stay positive, test negative.
Yes, and never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days, to call God. It's been episode 257 of the Purple Rain Podcast. We're going to catch you guys